Thank you, Mr. Speaker. H.R. 2243, the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Reform Act, which reforms LEOSA, makes important updates to the existing LEOSA program. In 2004, President George W. Bush signed LEOSA into law. The law exempts certain active and retired law enforcement officers from local and state prohibitions on the carrying of concealed firearms. In order to qualify under LEOSA, active law enforcement officers must meet several important requirements. For example, they must be authorized to carry a firearm by their agency. They cannot be subject to disciplinary actions by the agency that could result in a loss of their police power. They must meet certain firearms qualification standards. They cannot be under the influence of alcohol or other intoxicating substances, and they must not be prohibited by federal law from possessing a firearm. Retired law enforcement officers must also meet several requirements in order to qualify under LEOSA. For example, they must have separated from service in good standing and served as a law enforcement officer for an aggregate of 10 years or more. They also are required to meet certain firearms training standards and must not be prohibited by federal law from possessing a firearm. The LEOSA Reform Act will allow these officers to carry a concealed firearm in the same manner many licensed citizens carry a firearm in their state. For example, the LEOSA Reform Act will allow law enforcement officers qualified under LEOSA to carry concealed firearms in national parks, certain federal facilities that are not open to the public, on public transportation, in school zones, and in other areas. The bill also reduces the frequency that qualified retired law enforcement officers are required to meet certain qualification standards. Many states allow state-licensed concealed carry permit holders to carry a concealed firearm in gun-free school zones and on public transportation in the state in which they are licensed. This bill affords qualified law enforcement officers the same privilege. This legislation improves public safety as our officers face increasingly greater dangers, and current restrictions hinder their ability to carry firearms and protect themselves and others. At a time when violent crime continues to plague our nation, we must support our active and retired law enforcement officers and ensure they are able to protect themselves and to protect others, no matter where they are in the United States. This legislation is supported by the Association of State Criminal Investigative Agencies, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, the Major Cities Chiefs Association, the Major County Sheriffs of America, the National Association of Police Organizations, the National Narcotics Officers Association Coalition, the National Sheriffs Association, and the Sergeants Benevolent Association, NYPD. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.